Alright folks, in this video we will have a demonstration of L3VPN with BGP segment routing, and I've got the setup already in place with L3VPN BGP segment routing and LDP. So we're going to eliminate LDP and we're going to enable segment routing for label distribution. So my setup is router 1, router 2, and these are all obviously on VYOS 1.5 rolling release. Router 1, router 2, router 3, I've got router 4, just too many routers, but that's fine. This is all configured with IS, did I say ISS? ISIS. ISIS L2, level 2, with segment routing and LDP. So we're just going to kill this and enable SR, segment routing for label distribution. This one is PE, provider edge, and this one is a provider router, PE router, a typical MPLS setup. Okay. I've labeled the routers as R1, 2, 3, 4. This segment is 12. This segment is 23. This segment is 24. And their respective loopbacks 111, 444, 333, 222, and so on and so forth. Okay. So the objective again here is it's a running configuration. I've got dummy interfaces, I believe 11. We'll double check that. And 11.2, dummy 0, dummy 1. And it's in a VRF. This one's got 33, dummy 0, dummy 1, 33, 33, 1, 1, slash 32, 33, 2, 2, 2, slash 32, VRF, 3, and this one also has 44, 111, and 44, 222 in a VRF. V4. So we got the VRFs and everything going. This guy is a P router, so all it's got is ISIS, MPLS, LDP, segment routing, and these guys have the BGP. Sounds good. All right. Now, this is already up and running. The purpose of the illustration here is to show you that VYOS supports label distribution with segment routing alone and does not require LDP. All right? So let's go and check it out. I'm going to click on router 1. show IP route VRF V1. I've got BGP quad 0 coming in from 444. And that in this setup, I am basically what I'm doing is I am sending a quad 0 from V4 to my spokes. And I am exporting my routes to V4. So V4, router 4 is acting like a hub, and router 1 and router 3 is acting like spokes. So the traffic goes like this, okay? And we can kind of play with it if I remember. But right now I can show you the configuration of R1 to be LDP. So I'm getting the routes from R4, because it says 444, which is my loop back here. So if I ping 333 here, it should work. Even though it's not in the routing table, I'm going through R4. Source is going to be my 11, and my VRF is going to be VRF1. So it is working. So, and it's working. Show, let's go into config, show protocols. The protocol BGP ISIS. ISIS has got MPLS and LDP. So ISIS got no segment routing configured here, right? So we're going to enable that. Yeah, what we are using right now is we are using MPLS LDP for this setup to work. So we're going to get rid of MPLS LDP and enable segment routing. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right, so verification of the configuration here, show IP route, VRF, V4, routes are coming in from router 1, routes are coming in from router 3, and these are my locally connected routes. And if I go configure, show protocols, my ISIS has no segment routing, it's using LTP, so that's the case across the board. Now what we're going to do is disable MPLS, configure segment routing with ISIS for L3VPNs. Delete protocol MPLS LDP. Commit, delete protocol MPLS LDP. Commit, going through 3, log in first, configure, show protocols, got ISIS and MPLS LDP, delete protocol MPLS LDP, commit. I've got one more router to go, which I believe is this guy. P router. Configure, show protocols, ISIS, MPLS, LDP. Delete protocol MPLS, LDP. So now, if you see show protocols, you'll see that I have ISIS and MPLS for distribution, for protocol distribution, but not LDP, no more LDP. So now I'm going to enable ISIS segment routing, and hopefully it works. All right, so let's start with router 1. Set protocol ISIS. It's already pre-configured. I hope the metric style wide is there. And I say segment routing. And I say prefix for this guy is going to be its loopback, which is 1111/32. Index value is going to be 1 for router 1. And then I'm going to do segment routing, maximum label depth. Let's just say 10. Commit. Now, before I go there, I just want to make sure we check the routing table. Show IP route, and you'll see the routes have disappeared. Show IP route, VRF, V1, quad 0 is gone. Show IP route, all the routes are gone because we disabled or deleted LDP. Now, let's go segment routing. So router 1 is done. Set protocol, ISIS, segment routing, prefix, the router 2 is 2, 2/32 index value is 2, maximum label depth 10 is what we're using. Let's go do 3, set protocol, ISIS, segment routing, prefix router 3 is 333. Index value 3. Maximum depth is 10. Last one. Set protocol ISIS segment routing. Prefix is 4 for router 4. Index value is 4. Maximum is 10. Let's see if we get our routes back. Bingo, we got the route back. Show IP route, VRF VA4, getting the routes back. Can we ping? And we can. There you go. So now we see with 2 commands, we got the, obviously, ISS was pre-configured, BGP was pre-configured, but we converted with 2 commands, we converted from LDP to segment routing, MPLS, L3VPN. So that was my illustration for this. I'm also going to go ahead and show you the route targets. So if you see what's happening, a little bit of illustration is, so now we've migrated from label distribution LDP to segment routing ISIS, and we are successfully able to reach other sites. The way route targets work, obviously, this is if you're playing with a non-carrier router with Cisco, the only carrier level router is, to my knowledge, is obviously the CRS, the big huge one, not CSR, and then their Catalyst routers, and then the ASRs. The CSRs or XE based routers are not carrier class. So they have a lot of broken features from route target, route distinguisher, route maps, and you know, it's very embarrassing to see a company like Cisco, whose code is so severely broken. But XR is pretty good. XR is pretty good. and for any serious core routing, carrier routing, the only possible solution is XR from Cisco. So the reason I'm telling you this story is because VYOS 1.5 has or strives to have a feature set that is more carrier class. So let's go and demonstrate to you or show you the route targets, because it lets you distribute route targets with different communities, BGP communities. XC doesn't let you do that. Oh, XR does. All right. Long story short, let's look at the show VRF. Here's your VRF. And this is how carrier class routing works for protocol BGP. Goes into the VRF context. And then you got the export and import VPN. Then you were exporting it in the VPN in the BGP process. And your route distinguisher is locally significant, so that's 1:1 for router 1. But I'm exporting my route targets as 111, and I'm importing 1:1, which is router 4. So now if I open up router 2, you'll see pretty much a similar thing. I'm exporting my route distinguisher, which is locally significant from my own process to BGP is 1.3, but my routes are going with the tag 133, which I am not importing here. I'm importing 1.1 here, 1.1 here, which is basically a route target in router 4. There you go. So you got a route descriptor or distinguisher, which is exporting 1.4 to the BGP, local BGP. And then my route targets, I'm exporting 1.1 that is getting imported by these two guys. That's how they see the quad 0 in their routing table. And then I'm importing their routes, 111, which I am exporting from here, and 133, which I'm exporting from router 3. So hopefully you can see how the export and import works, irrelevant of the locally significant route distinguisher. This is locally significant, telling BGP to go advertise through VPN, right? So this is the part for the VRFs, and then you obviously have the perimeter system, blah blah. That's the complete config. Let's go take a look at show protocol BGP. Show protocol BGP. Show protocol BGP. So now what you see here is that this is the global BGP, and he's into the address family VPN, not VRF. VRF is CE facing, customer facing, and this is the core facing configuration, the VPN part, the main middle core, where your router 2 is. Router 2 has no BGP, it has no information about all these routes. So these guys are essentially, find my pen, sending VPN routes without the P router knowing, right? So that's the concept of L3VPNs. So coming back to the configuration, as you can see, show protocol BGP. So this router 2 we don't have to see because this is a P router. We can concentrate on, let's go back to our visual 1, 4, and 3. Let's see if I can make this guy a little more visible, which I believe I can't, so no worries. But you can see the address family VPN. This is where the VRF is exporting its route distinguisher to the BGP family, and then BGP is sending this VPN information to its neighbors, 3344, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. So they're in like this mesh, full mesh configuration. That's how they exchange the routes. And then the route targets are going in the VRF address family. That's all BGP is doing here, core facing global BGP. It's an address family, VPN v4. So if you follow the logic that the way VYOS 1.5 has done it, it's done very neatly, and it's not done like that in the XC code, but it's done like that in the XR code, hence the purpose of that story. So if you follow the logic of how VYOS is doing its VRF and interacting with the BGP, yeah, it'll help you understand the concept and eventually XR code if you're deploying that or managing that just to test it out. It really does help if you test it out. But the idea here was to illustrate L3VPNs and with ISIS segment routing on VYOS 1.5, and that is awesome. The only thing I regret is that VYOS doesn't support RSVP traffic engineering. I am going to do my next video on SRv6. Hopefully it works. And I want to figure out how to do traffic engineering with this without a controller. Maybe the controller is required. Hope this helps.